welcome to UKZN Medical School Running Club live to Zoom Talk, episode 3. And guest, Mr. Rantso Mokopane. Mr. Mokopane, outside of running, who are you? If you can explain to us.
Good question. With outside running, I think I'm a father now. I'm a father now. To one little boy, and I'm a husband to the most beautiful woman. So yeah, besides running, I'm a father and a husband to my wife, Voyo.
Thank you. So are you from the athletic background? How was your background life like?
I think with most of us athletes, I think most of us, we come from backgrounds where none of our parents never did sports. So in my case, my mother, my father, they never did any sports whatsoever. So it's something that I was fascinated about when I was in primary. So we used to go on trips. I would join just because we're gonna have food, we're gonna have presents and stuff like that. So it always fascinated me to be like, okay, well, why are people on Fridays going out and competing with other schools? It was always fascinating. So there was nothing from my blood or from my parents that I can say, okay, my parents did it, that's why I'm doing it. So yeah.
With regards to your running career, have you always been this competitive, or have you been struggling before you became the most achieving person I know?
But I think with any kind of sports, even if you're not winning, but it's very, especially athletics, it's competitive. It's competitive. You are competitive towards yourself because for example, you're like, okay, if you run 4 kilometers, you're gonna be like, okay, you know what? I'm running 4 kilometers. The first time you die at 2 kilometers, you try to improve so that you die at 3 kilometers. Next time you say, okay, I'm gonna train harder so that I can reach at least 3.5, 4 kilometers. So I would have to say it has always been competitive, because either you win or you lose, you have to be competitive. So yeah, it has always been right through competitive.
Thank you for that. So how does a typical day of Mr. Mokopane look like?
I would have to say it has to be some kind of a boring lifestyle. Some others say it's boring, but for us, it's the only way to make it through, because you have to recover. So I would wake up in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock, I would go to training. Now, it used to be different when I was still in university in Northwest. But now since I've moved to Pretoria, it's a bit different because of the traffic and everything. So I have to wake up 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I would go to HPC. Past 6 to 7, we would train, jog in the morning, 16, 17 Ks in the morning, stretch after that, come back home, breakfast, sleep after, in the morning, up until afternoon, 1, 2, I would sleep. Sometimes I can't sleep, but I would just rest. And then 2 o'clock, I would go back to HPC, drive. It's a 30-minute drive, go back to HPC, train 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then after that, I see my wife 4 o'clock, and then dinner at 6 o'clock. So I would have to say it's a kind of it's like a timetable kind of lifestyle. So others say it's boring, some say it's rigid and all that, but it's the only way, because you must remember that as an athlete, you need to recover well before you can see those results. You can expect to overwork the body. So that's my normal day.
On that note, if you don't mind, can I ask you a question?
No problem, Christine.
So I don't know if you can see me. I'm also running Comrades this year. I'm currently in my final year of medical school. So with you telling us a lot about how your day looks like as a professional athlete, I'm really passionate about running and taking the sport further, maybe also after medical school. But how would you say when did you make the call to become a professional athlete, and perhaps just like your whole day is evolving around training in that? Like for me, it's like difficult because I have to wake up sometimes at 4 o'clock to fit in gym, nutrition, like recovery, as you say, and then to study. So when and how did you arrive at that conclusion?
Okay. This, I think I was stuck in between. In my life, I think 5 years back, I was 5 years back, where I was like, okay, what do I do here? Né? I think in terms of South African context, it's very, very difficult for you to be as a full professional athlete, unless if you're getting a lot of money. So it started when I was, I think, in my third year. I think in my third year where I started to make money. I went to Europe third year, and then I made a decent amount of money when I was third year. I was like, okay, I've never received this much of money. So let me just try and see if I can work a bit better and be a professional athlete. But it's very difficult because, like, you understand that university was paying for my fees and I couldn't neglect academics and focus on running alone. I had to balance the two. So it was a very difficult part of, like, in my life at that time. So I think that time I was a semi-professional, semi-student athlete, because, like, it's not like in the US. In the US, you get a student athlete who's in university who for like 4 years is a student athlete. And then after that, 4 years after that, there's no studying, no research, no nothing. Then after that, they go.
Yes, my sister's doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, in the US. Yeah. Is your sister, who's your sister? Rachel, who's your sister?
No, my sister is called Louise. She's not in running. She's doing track and field and pole vaulting.
Yeah, so you would understand that in the US, it's a bit different. You can be a student athlete. It's a bit accommodating in terms of your studies and your athletics. And then after your 4 years, when you're done with your degree, or when you decide as a person that, you know what, I'm so good enough that I can make it out there, then you can be a professional runner, and then you're going to be paid. Unlike South Africa, it's very difficult for you to get a team that's going to pay you, that's going to pay for your expenses and all that. So now, in the South African context, we use the university because there's no other structure than the university to help us pay for accommodation overseas, to pay for the flights, to support us, physios. We use the structures that are there to the physios on campus to help us. So it's a very difficult decision for you to do as a student in South Africa, for you to be like, okay, I'm going to become a professional runner.
Okay, on that note, as a runner, and like I'm in 6th year medical school and I didn't know that there is a medical school running club. Like, how can I sign up or enter?
Yep. Okay, sorry.
Okay, it's fine. So for the UKZN Medical School Running Club, we are a club which you can join by signing on our Google form. I think the link will be provided to you if you need it. I think that's pretty much.
Okay, cool. I'll just put my cell number out, then you can message it to me if that's fine.
Yeah, that's cool. Are you done with your question, Christine?
Yes, so thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it was not an interruption at all. We actually appreciate that you did this. Okay, so as I was asking Mr. Mokopane, how do you prepare for your biggest races? Maybe the day before anything.
Normally I would sit down with my coach and normally would work backwards. You see on the calendar would work, let's say we're running on let's say this weekend on the 20th, Saturday. So we'd work backwards and start preparing. So normally I would give myself 6 weeks to prepare. That includes supplements. What type of supplements are you gonna need? So there's different supplements for winter training, for you to combat flus, and because you don't wanna be stuck with the flu and you have to prepare. So supplements plays a huge role because they differ between seasons. the type of training that I need to do, and at the end, the type of race that I'm preparing for, whether it's a 5K, track race, a 10K, a 21. So it just depends on the type of race. If I'm gonna prepare for a longer race like a 10K, 21K, I'm gonna need maybe 8 weeks, 10 weeks to prepare for such. And then if I'm going for a track and field, that's from January up until April, then I'm gonna need about 4 to 6 weeks to just prepare. But that's not like starting from scratch. That's like that's doing race specific stuff. Because if you're gonna start from scratch, if I have Mkabanyana and I want to be fit in 6 weeks, it won't work. So this is when you constantly jogging, constantly doing gym, just conditioning the body. You're not super fit and you're not unfit. You're just okay. So normally I would give myself 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then it depends on the type of race that I'll be doing. So if I'll be doing 21, I'll be doing a lot of mileage in terms of kilometers on the road, maybe 16, 17 Ks in the morning. In the afternoon, I'll be doing, depends. I'll be doing maybe 1K times 8, 3 minutes a K, 255 a K. If I'm doing faster stuff like a 5K, a 3K, a 1.5, I'll be doing maybe 400 meters times 6, 60 seconds. 60 seconds to 65. It just depends on the type of race, and also under the guidance of my coach. He's the one who structures everything in terms of the program and what you must do and how you must do it. Because as an athlete, you overdo things. If you're feeling good on the day, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. If sometimes you're a bit tired, so it just depends on what the coach says and what you want on the day.
Can I ask a question on that note?
Yeah, Bo.
So what does like your coach tell you in terms of like training intensity, like hard sessions versus more chilled sessions, and like how would you prepare in terms of like hills? Are there any specific sets that he's got for you?
Okay, that's great, ne? Christine. It's like you know a lot of stuff, ne? But I would have to say that, in terms of intensity, obviously we are competitive beings as athletes. We wanna be. You see, I don't want Christine to let me. I don't want Christine to be. You see, so it's very competitive. So the coach is there just to mediate between us, the athletes. To be like, okay, today I want the time. I think time. And the athlete knows that, okay, you know what? I know Christine can run 3 minutes times 5. He knows over time. I think over time, the coach can be able to discern and be like, okay, I know Christine can do this type of work. Or Christine is fast on these type of sets. Or this one is. So I think that's the measuring thing that he uses, that, okay, I know that Rantso can do 1,000 times 10. And in terms of hill sessions, we do hill sessions every Friday, depending on the season. Everything depends. It depends on when am I, like this week I'm racing. So last week I couldn't do race. No, I couldn't do hill sessions. So I would have to say every week, depending on which day suits you perfectly and all that, I would have to say hill session is very important because it gives you that extra strength. It's the same as you doing hill work, or no, you doing gym work. Because imagine if you're doing hill session, you are using your arms, you're using your legs, you're extending your legs in an extent that you wouldn't do when you're running on a level field, you see. So a hill session is very, very, very important for you to incorporate that strength work in your running. So and also the intensity, going back to the intensity, I just want to add this, that with different training sessions, there are different training intensities. So for example, you're doing 2 kilometers, it's long. You can't expect to be running 90% of your maximum doing a 2 kilometer. So you have to, the coach, but the coach is there to be like, okay, you're doing 2 kilometers, just go 60% so you can finish the session. There's no other feeling than finishing a session and be like, okay, I did that. Then you going the first one, the second one, and then after the second one, you are done. Then you're gonna be like, okay, I didn't finish my session. It's kind of psychological game that you play in that, okay, I need to finish my sessions and I want to get out of the session feeling great, not you feeling, you see, so yeah.
So, Mr. Mokopane, what has been your greatest achievements thus far?
Greatest achievement so far was the ability. It's always an honor to represent my country. So I would have to say, besides everything, being able to represent my country and wearing that yellow and green jersey and competing with other guys, always my greatest achievement. But besides that, was when I won my second medal, my second silver medal. That was 2017 in Taipei, World University Games. This is where you guys come in, because like I feel like many universities, they don't take they don't see the importance of running USA and varsity sports, because that's where you get the most recognition. That's where like managers and agents come and say, you know what, we saw this second year or third year student running 1, 2, 3. So yeah, that was my first ever achievement that I would have to say. Yeah, and then 2019, I also came second in Italy, 3,000 Steeplechase. Yep, yeah, I think those are the two major, and the ability to retain my 3,000 Steeplechase title in South Africa for the 5th time. I think it's hard for someone to do that. So I think those are my major accomplishment that I can do. And then I can add academically, besides athletics, academically, the ability to do athletics and have 3 qualifications was also one of the things that I never expected, you see, because like there's this stigma that says athletes or soccer players or tennis players, athletes are not as smart, or not smart, but they are lazy in terms of academics. So that's one of the things that I just wanted to prove, that, you know what, you can be a good athlete out there, you can be a soccer star or whatever star, and still be able to produce results in the classroom. So I think that's also is one of my my achievements that I can say I'm proud of.
Thank you. Mr. Mokopane, as you the man who holds so many accolades, even in academics, how do you balance it all? How do you find that balance between how did you find the balance between academic stress and running stress, since you were able to achieve in both?
I think it was very hard. I remember now, even you reminded me when we were looking at the questions that you know what, it was very, very, very difficult, because like I remember at one point I used to go to USA's, carry my physiology books and my other books. I went to Europe. There was a year where I went to Europe with all of my books. I missed my first opportunity of exams. That was June exams. I missed all of my exams. They give you 2 opportunities. If you don't write the first one, you have the second one. And then if you fail this, you fail your whole semester. Ne? And I forfeited my first opportunity of exams. That was 2015. And then I went to Europe with my study materials. And then I came back and I had to write 3 exams on the same day, at 9 o'clock, at 12, and at 4 o'clock. And then I felt like that was the most difficult thing I would ever do in my life. But then at the same time, it's very difficult. But then at the same time, it wants you to work extra hard, because what motivated me is that, you know what, I have 24 hours in a day. So let me just, even if the body is going to be tired, you're going to be in the labs up until 3 o'clock in the morning. But I think it's possible for you to balance the two. Only if you know that, you know what, you have something that you're working towards. And at the same time, you are enjoying whatever that you're studying. I always emphasize this. Ne? If you're going to be studying something that you're not passionate about, and you have to do other stuff at the same time, I feel like you're not going to have that drive because you're doing stuff that you don't really like. So now if you like soccer and you like physiology at the same time, you're gonna want to achieve both of them at the same time because it's something that you don't have to think twice about doing them, you see. So yeah.
So what lesson or strategy do you use that can be applied in daily life for actively being able to produce results that you've been able to produce?
Strategies, there won't be, I can be here being a motivational talker, but I think there's no strategy. I think especially as a student athlete, for you guys out there who are studying and who are actively running, I think there's no other technique than to manage your time. It's easier said than done that now you must go and manage your time, do 1, 2, 3, have blogs and reminders. I think, but time management, I think it's everything. If you can be able to be like, you know what, at 3 o'clock, I'm going to be doing 1, 2, 3. It saves you a lot of last minute things and you being underprepared when you go to a competition and all that. So what I did in my day is that I didn't have much of a social life. I would go out there and that's the truth. I didn't have much of a social life up until it was off season. So off season for me started from September up until December. So that's the time where I used to focus on academics and have time to just focus on my academics that time. And also maybe party there and there because I used to be a student as well. So there's also that element of you having fun, having a girlfriend at the same time, and just having, a university life. So what I would do is that I would not have a social life. But I'm not saying that everyone shouldn't because like it was so much on my plate that I couldn't afford to have every weekend I'm going out with the gents or I'm gonna see this lady or I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3. So I limited my time to myself, my studies and my athletics. So that's the only thing that I did,
So how did you grow your love for running despite the hardship and responsibilities it brings?
I think this is, I watched Formula One. There's a documentary on Netflix that I watched where they're asking different, like Hamilton, Max Verstappen, such similar questions on, But I would have to say my drive, and I think it's universal, not all of us, but I think it's everyone that would have to say the thrill of, even if you go through, because no one likes the hardships. Even Max doesn't like, Max Verstappen doesn't like the hardships, but the thrill of winning, that feeling of, okay, you know what? I've worked so hard for the last 2 years. Now everything is coming together. Or that, even if you're not winning now, but that thought of, you know what? When it comes, it's going to come. When that, you just imagine yourself on the podium winning. And I think that for me was always the motivation to be like, you know what, keep on moving. There's going to be a day we're going to be on that podium and your results are going to show off. See? So I think that thrill of, you know what, I'm going to make it. I'm going to beat my opponents. I'm going to be victorious. Even if I'm struggling now, there's injuries, there's no sleep, there's assignments, there's all this stuff that you have to get through. But at the end of the day, you're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to achieve 1, 2, 3. And you hope your hard work is going to make you achieve those kind of stuff. So that ability to be like, okay, I imagine myself being an Olympian, a world championship, a world university championship like you guys are going to be, you see. So that's the motivating thing that always keeps me going.
With regards to your achievements, what process did you go through when you first started running and went through and being at a national level?
National or international?
Sorry, did you hear me?
Yeah, I just want to, international or national level, ne? I just want to understand.
International.
or international?
Level. Yes.
Okay, like one thing that I will always be appreciative of is the fact that there was a USA organization. I don't know if you guys know USA, but it's the USA. USA gave me the platform because I think without USA, I wouldn't have traveled the world and being exposed to international meetings and international managers and international people, athletes. So I think I would have to say USA helped me a lot in terms of me being, there was the process, there was the only process because as a university student back then, it was not long time ago, it was 7 years back. But then it gave me the platform to be like, okay, you know what, you can be able to compete with other students in the world, students from Russia, students from the US. So I think through that process of USA, me competing in USA tournaments, and I would encourage that to all of you guys here. To Margaret, I think has an idea and has represented, I think Tax when she was still here, Tax, has an idea on what USA is, but it's a great platform for you guys to be able to showcase your talents and to compete with other people that are having the same stresses as you, because as a professional athlete, you are dealing with people that are doing lesser than you. Let's say, for example, in Ethiopia and Kenya, people they eat natural. But now, if you are competing against other students in terms of USA, you are competing with people that know the stresses of studying, of research. So I think like the playing field is a bit the same. So the USA process is the one that helped me to, you see, get international experience and exposure.
Okay. So as a young Black athlete, what challenges have you come across in your career?
I wouldn't have to say much in South Africa. Yeah, but as an athlete, I feel like there were none. I think as an athlete, I think there was none here. The only one that I remember was when I was in Poland. And then now, people, they're not fond of English, or some of them, they don't know English as much. So my only struggle was that I was lost in Poland. I was traveling alone. I was lost, and I'm here, I'm speaking English, and people are just looking me funny, like, and they're responding in their own language. It's like you're talking to someone. I'm talking to you in English. You're responding in isiZulu, and it's like you can hear me, but you can't speak my language, or you can't speak English. So yeah, but in terms of other stuff, as a Black athlete, I haven't, other stuff, it's controversial, but I don't want to be controversial today. So other stuff is very controversial, but as an athlete, there have not been so much.
Okay, so what opinion do you have about South African sports, especially athletics?
Okay, we are ruled by ASA. So under the new leadership, which is James Molloy, I feel like he was an athlete before, so I feel like he knows what the athletes want, you see. So, and he can understand our cries, and he understands that, you know what, as athletes, we need to be given attention, because like attention is given more to other sports that they feel like rugby and soccer and tennis and other cricket and other sports. So I feel like now, in terms of our trajectory and where we're going, in terms of the leadership that we have now with James Molloy, I think we're in good hands. And yeah, I think development is there to make sure that like we groom young athletes coming through, because like I think we take most of the athletes that are developed, your Wade van Niekerk, your Akani Simbeni, your Casta, all of the, I would have to, Tatiana Schoonmaker here at Tags, it's university students. It's university students. So I think with that in mind, and USA also in mind, I think we are in good hands to develop good athletes in the future.
Thank you for that. So, in future, what are you hoping to achieve in terms of sports and in terms of your personal life?
Okay, this is it's a statement. It's a prophetic word that next year I'll be representing South Africa in Hungary at the World Championships. Yeah, it was the one that took place this year in Oregon, US. So that is my goal, and that is what I'm gonna achieve. Because I feel like now I had an injury 3 years back, 2 years back, but then now I'm coming back. That's gonna be my focus point for next year. Going to Hungary, representing my country, and the following year going to Olympics. So those are my two goals that I'm looking forward to achieving soon.
Okay, before I proceed with the questions, I would like to wish you a very good luck, and I hope you do achieve your goals. And can one make a good living out of running?
As a it's two ways. You see, if you're gonna be it's very hard to make a living as an athlete, unless if you're gonna be doing road running. If you're gonna be doing road running like full time, you can make a bit of money. It's not that it's not gonna be. Let me be honest. It's not gonna be the money that you're gonna be buying cars and living lavishly and all that. It's gonna be for you to just sustain yourself as a road running athlete. But then if you go to Europe, like I did, if you are able to go to Europe or go to races internationally, like go to Australia, come back, then you can be able to make money. I can make one example by one of our athletes in the group. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Steven Mokopane and Casta. So they make most of their money not only in South Africa, they make most of their money going to Europe. So I think like you have to be that good for you to earn a living, because like Casta and Steven Mokoka, I don't know if you guys know them, they're not doing anything except athletics. That's how they can sustain themselves. But in order for them to do that, they have to be really, really good. So, but in South Africa, you can't make as much money. You make 5,000 day, 3,000 day, but you must remember that you have to pay rent every month. You have to buy supplements. Supplements, it costs 2,000, 3,000 a month. You have to go to physio. You have to buy vitamins. You have to eat. If you have kids like or a kid like I do, you have to support your family at the same time. So in a South African context, it's very hard. But if you are that good that you have a sponsor that's going to be giving you, let's say 20,000 a month plus whatever that they're giving you, then you can make a decent living out of it. But you have to be really good for you to achieve those results. But it's possible. It's possible.
So okay, I'll just continue with the questions that we received from the chat. So one person said that, is there any book or any podcast that you would recommend to us as students that could perhaps like assist us?
I would have to be honest and say I don't listen to any I've never listened to any podcast, or I only see snippets and stuff, but I don't really, I'll be lying if I say I listen or I watch any podcast. Nah.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mokopane, who is your role model, and why is that person your role model?
Role model, this has always been the answer since I was in my first year. I feel like my mother is my role model because I don't have so many people around me to be like, okay, I have this. And so I would have to say my mother is, because like she has endured so much and still she persisted through everything to just make everything work for us. So I would have to say she has always been and will always be my role model, because of I always say in any situation, if I'm going through whatever. If I'm blocked, when I was a student, if I go through a mental block or I fail, whatever module or whatever, I'll have to be like, okay, what would my mother do? My mother would persevere, work hard, find a solution, and get through with things, you see. So yeah, my mother will always be my role model in terms of the perseverance and the resilience she possessed in her.
Thank you for that. So now, what advice could you maybe give to someone who wishes to follow your footsteps?
To follow my footsteps, I would have to say, just don't think twice about it. If you feel passionate about running, don't think twice about it. Follow your coach's orders. And develop, before you follow your coach's order, make sure that you have a good relationship with your coach, because a coach, even if it's a woman or a man, they are our parents. So have a good relationship with the coach. As an athlete, be coachable, because like a coach doesn't want someone who's not going to be coachable. When a coach says, you know what, so I'm going to do 10 kilometers today, jog, you have to do that 10 kilometer and develop that relationship with the coach. There are times where you're not going to feel like doing that 10 kilometer, but at least in order for you to have that trust, don't lie and say I did my 10 kilometer, because he's going to give you another program. It's a build up of things. If he says no, go and do a 10 kilometer this morning, and then you come back and say you did it, yeah, okay, you did the 10 kilometer, knowing that you didn't, and then he comes back in the afternoon and says, okay, now we're doing 400 meters times 10. In his mind, he knows that you did 10 kilometers in the morning, so which means you're strong enough for you to handle those 400 in the afternoon. So if you didn't, it's either going to cause injuries to yourself, and you're going to cause doubts, because now you're going to go to a race, you're going to think, you know what, I'm fit. But just because you didn't do whatever that the coach has said you must do, you're not going to produce the result that you wanted. You're going to think, what if actually they think, okay, now I did 1, 2, 3, then I'm going to run good. And without the coach knowing. And then when they get to the race, there's no result. So what I would do is that you must follow the coach's advice, form a good relationship with the coach, and always be honest with whatever that the coach says you must do as an athlete.
Yes. So now this is gonna be my last question, and everyone after my question can now proceed to ask the questions as well. So I would like to ask you, what mistakes have you made in your life that had a major impact on your career, and how did you fix them? And what lessons did you take from those mistakes?
The major mistake that I did was after I went to Qatar for the World Championships 2019. So when I came back from Qatar, I came back with a lot of notes, because there I could be able to sit down with Kenyans and Ethiopians and all these Americans, all these great runners, and be able to ask information and sessions. How do you do it? Your Beregas, these great athletes. Né? And then I came back home. When I came back home, I gave my coach that huge book of what I wrote in the 5 weeks when I was in Qatar. And I said to coach, can you please do some of the stuff that these athletes are doing? These athletes are winning gold medals out there. Can we try and implement whatever that they're doing in our training program? So not realizing that, you know what, okay, this is their program. This is what they've been doing for the past 20 years, 10 years of their lives. And then I wanted to implement whatever that they've been doing into my own program, which is wrong, because like we eat different stuff. We have different weathers. We have different body compositions. We have everything of us is different. We're not, me and you, I'm sure even if we are in South Africa, we are different. We eat different food. So I wanted to implement whatever that they've been doing in Ethiopia, Kenya, whatever, and try to implement in my running career, which was a whole, after maybe a year, I was like, you know what, this thing is not working. And then I was asking myself, why am I not running the same as the Kipchoges and these people that have been giving me stuff that I must do. Not thinking that, nah, man, we train in a different environments and stuff like that. So what I would give to you guys is that never take someone else's program and things are gonna work on you, because you have a different body type, different strides, length, different mindset, motivation. What motivates me will never be your motivator, you see? So you must never, ever, ever take someone else's program and try to implement. You can take there and there and try to, but with that guidance, I always go back to the guidance of your coach and someone, or your mentor, or someone can be able to sit down with you and say, you know what, okay, you are a thin kind of guy. You don't need to do so much mileage. Or you are a thick kind of person, you're a sprinter. You don't need for you to be doing weights program, whereby weight does 800 meter sessions in order for you to be faster in the 400. For you, many people have tried that. Many people after weight posted on some other social platform that now he does 800 meters as a training. Many people went and did that, but they couldn't achieve even close to the result that he could achieve, because they didn't know how to do that. It was specifically made for weight. So as an athlete, you must never, ever, ever take whatever that other person. You can try but yeah, you never take anything from anyone and try to implement in your training program, unless if it's from your coach, because your coach is gonna be a trial and error. It's gonna be, okay, let's try 400. If it doesn't work, let's try 300. Let's go. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I love the way you answered our questions. You were very elaborate. And now I'd like to go ahead and give the platform to anyone that has got a question that has been wanting to ask but didn't get it.
Yeah. I have a quick question. So my question is, you've mentioned how, like, for example, in the US, how everything is a little bit more flexible to try to accommodate students that are also athletes in the same manner. So I wanted to know, like, what do you think that our leadership in South Africa can do to assist and make things a bit easier for people that are still athletes and students to be able to do both, instead of having to find themselves at a place where they have to pick one? As you've said, a lot of athletes are known as people that are just good in whatever sports that they're in, but academically, there's this misconception that athletes are not academic people. But we fail to realize that it becomes very difficult if you're not in a system that tries to accommodate and it's flexible in terms of how to assist athletes to be also academics on the same time.
Yes, Margaret, that's one of the things that I was discussing after Banyana won that AFCON Cup. It's very difficult, man. But I think we have to move from that thing of saying, you know what, athletes are lazy. Athletes are not lazy, man. So in the US, like as I said, there are people that tutors. If Margaret is getting 49 for whatever module, there are people who are gonna be like, okay, you know what, Margaret, we see that you're struggling. There's someone who's gonna monitor your academics, like something like a monitor, or your what's this, mentor. Your mentor is gonna be like, okay, Margaret, we see that you're getting 49 for physiology. Let's try to get you 1 hour each day or 30 minutes each day after your sessions in the afternoon, to make sure that you pass your physiology so that you can be able to get your degree. When it comes to athletics, there will be someone who's like, okay, Margaret, you see that you're not performing okay. But I feel like all that has to come within a university's structure, because so far universities are the ones holding sporting structures in South Africa, because universities have physios, they have everything, fields, they have everything. They are the ones doing that. So I feel like we should put more emphasis on helping students in whatever departments. Like in the US, like as I mentioned, if you're struggling with one subject, there will be someone who's going to be a mentor in that department. If you're going through family issues, there's going to be someone who's going to be a psychologist for you to make sure that, like, when you go onto the playing field, you block out everything that's happening. You can't do that on your own. You need someone who's going to be there for you to be like, yeah, okay, you know what, that happened, but let's move on and play this match. So I feel like more funding has to be provided to the universities to make sure that, like, all these services, it's more services, but they cost university X amount of money for them to have a physio when you're injured, to have a doctor when you need whatever injection, psychologist and all that. And also to give incentives to the athlete to be like, okay, you know what, if you represent our university good, I know with Northwest where I'm coming from, they'll be like, okay, if you win USAs, let's say USA rugby, if you win USAs, we're going to give you 10,000 at the end of the year, or we're going to give you that 10,000 as a form of a bursary so that you don't pay. If your qualification costs 50,000, we're going to minus that 10,000. So all you have to pay is 40,000. Or we're going to put you on our program for, you don't have to pay anything. And on top of that, support the athletes through and through, because as an athlete, you need more support than anyone else, because you have to deal with academics, you have to deal with stress at home, you have to deal with so many things in your life that you need every help that you can get to make sure that when you get onto the field or when you get to the track or on the road, you have nothing to worry about in terms of what type of shoe are you wearing, what did you eat, when you finish, where are you going to go and sleep, what type of, so when you have everything sorted out, I feel like you're going to excel because you don't have anything to worry about, because you know you have to focus on one thing, which is to win. So I feel like universities and our body structures like ASA in terms of running, SAR in terms of South African rugby, CSA, Cricket South Africa, they have to focus on pumping more money. We always complain about this, because like now with Banyana was saying, you know what, UWC paid their athletes well. They made sure that their athletes are taken care of before they can go to the AFCON. I mean, like TUT, they made sure that their athletes before the camp, they have everything that they need. If those institutions didn't contribute, I feel like the result was going to be different. But now after they've won, everyone's like, hey, but they don't know that it took someone to pay X amount of money to make sure that players need, whether it can be medical or whatever, is settled before they can perform at their best level. Yeah?
Thank you so much for that answer. I think, yeah, you've touched on a lot. Christine, you may proceed to ask your question.
Thanks, Margaret. I have another question for you. You spoke a lot about USA, and how would one get in touch with them?
USA, you mean website, cell phone, email, or a person, contact person?
Perhaps a person.
Or I think if you can go to your sports officer at the university, they can be able to give you enough information for you to participate in USA tournaments. But yeah, I think that's the because I feel like I know that every university is affiliated with USA, because they need to be affiliated with USA in order for them to participate in USA events. And USA has, it's not only athletics, there's rugby, there's every sporting code that you can think of. There's pool, there's swimming, but I think if you can go to your nearest or your sports officer on campus, they can be able to direct you to the right people.
Okay, thank you. My other question was, in terms of your diet, do you firstly follow a special diet? And as a student, how did you manage? Because like to get proteins in and everything, the nutrition is so expensive and it takes so much time to like meal prep and all of that. How did you manage as a student?
Yo, that's a great question. Christine, you know a lot, ne? But like in terms of diet, I would have to say there's no diet, unless if you are in the US where you can have chefs and stuff like that. But here in South Africa, it's very, very difficult for you to follow a certain diet and say, you know what, today I'm going to be eating protein, high fat, low carb, whatever thing. It's unless if you are that determined, but I feel like at the end of the day, man, it's expensive, as you said. It's time consuming because you have to. I did that for like a week. After a week, I was exhausted because I have to meal prep each and every day that today I'm gonna be eating 1, 2, 3. And as a student, you are on a budget. You can't expect to be eating broccoli almost every day, and you're not gonna be full. My coach always says you can't diet. Like you can't diet especially if you're doing track and road running. You can't diet because you're gonna be this thin. There's one athlete that I know from Cape Town, Annie Botma. She's so thin because she weighs her calories. She's like, she goes to Woolworths, she weighs the calories. She's like, okay, today I'm gonna be eating 500 grams of whatever nuts and stuff, but it's not because your body will tell you, unless if you go to a doctor that's expensive, who's gonna be like, okay, you know what, Christine, you need to be eating 10 milligrams of protein and 5 milligrams of, then okay, you can follow that. But as a normal student, it's hard. You can't expect to be eating broccoli and rice and what. Your body will automatically, if your body needs broccoli, it's gonna tell you, you know, when you are less for something, you want to eat something, that's the body telling you that you know what, you need to be drinking whatever, eating fish. Your body will tell you that, okay, now I need 1, 2, 3. You're gonna have that less. I don't know what you call it, but you're gonna be less to eat something. That means your body needs that. But I don't believe in a diet because you're gonna be hungry the whole time. Casta doesn't have a diet. She doesn't have a diet. Mokoka that we train with, he doesn't have a diet, but he's a world-class athlete. Ethiopians, and they don't have a diet. They eat the most natural food that you can get. I would have to say, for you to have a guidance or a path, avoid fizzy drinks. It's always the case with these nutrition people telling you, no, avoid. It's a simple sugars and fizzy drinks, but now and then you will have to drink maybe a Coke there and there. But if you can avoid sweet stuff, but you as a person, you know what's good for you and what's not good for you. So if you can stay on a good food as a student, your pap, your rice, then you're good to go. No need for you to be investing in low GI stuff like that, unless if you feel like you want to do it as a person.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm now in the clinical part of like my studies, so I have to be in the hospital the whole day. So if I even have a training session before or afterwards, and if you're running lots of mileage and you're doing lots of workouts, like you are constantly hungry and like you have like your shake with you, you're always eating, always dreaming of food, I feel, in the hospital. So it kind of, I'm even eating now. And my next question was going to be, how do you fuel yourself on like endurance workouts and like longer runs, say for comrades? What are kind of your electrolytes, your fluids you take in, and your even like your favorite snacks during a race? What do you eat?
Okay. That's okay. You're on point in terms of you're always hungry. You're always hungry as an athlete because you're doing a lot of, and I can imagine for you doing comrades, it's very demanding. But what I can, and I have one person who's gonna do comrades that I'm a bit helping out in terms of the food and what you must consume, how you must train and all that. And I would have to say, as long as you are full, man, like as long as you are full and not too full to the point where you can, if you can breathe in and not feel a discomfort, then you know you are okay. But then I would recommend, if you can, I'm not promoting any brand or whatsoever, but now currently I am using a Recovergen. It's a biogen. It's a biogen for you. Yeah, no, Christine, I'm not promoting any. I'm just showing you the stuff that I always use myself, and stuff that's working. Obviously, I've tested all the products. I've used USN. I've used so many things, and I've cut it down to stuff that only works for me. So I don't know. As I said, everything has to be catered to you, but you can try. But now you are running when it's short before you big day comrades. But I will use this as a recovery when I sleep, because when you sleep, that's where the body repairs itself.
Yes, yes.
You're gonna need something that's gonna help you do that 2 times faster. So I use Recoverin from Biogen. Actually, Biogen doesn't have a lot of I like it because it doesn't have a lot of sugar, and the ratio of, you need carbs and protein. It's 4:1, which is a good ratio for you to recover. And then for racing, I use this. But for you who's gonna be running 90 kilometers, you would have to have a lot of what's this, drinks of this
Yes.
within 1 hour. So you're gonna be racing for how many? 5-6 hours on the road. So I think you're gonna maybe need 5 bottles of this if someone's gonna be there handing them to you along the route. And then you can mix this with but I think I can, I'll speak to you privately on WhatsApp and just, because you're gonna be doing
Yes, I've messaged you. So I'll be asking you for all those things, and perfect.
And not to waste everyone's time, but
Exactly.
Yes. But thank you very much, guys, for if anyone has a specific question, I would gladly answer that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mokopane, for agreeing to have this meeting with us. I know you are a very busy man, and you said it yourself that you work on schedule. So we really appreciate that you gave us this opportunity to us. So now we've unfortunately come to an end of our meeting. With not much to say, we really do thank you, Mr. Mokopane. Thank you to everyone else who joined. If you guys have any question, you are welcome to contact Mr. Mokopane, because he also said he will answer all your questions. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.